If you're sitting there wondering why every single time that you attempt to lose 10 kilos, put on muscle, gain lean size, or take your physique to that next level, and you just can't seem to make it happen, you always fall short. You always get a little bit, but you never go all the way. And you're sitting there wondering why you're always so stuck. Well, today I'm going to tell you exactly why that happens. And it's probably not the reason that you think. It actually has nothing to do with training. It has nothing to do with your calories, and it has nothing to do with your fucking program. But it has everything to do with how you think and why everything isn't working in the first place. So for me to make this point as to why things aren't working, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about myself and why I was in the same position as you and how I've overcome that. So this was me on the first day of school. And as you could tell, I'm not a very jacked kid. I was quite an overweight kid. I ate my nonna's cooking like it was going out of fashion. And I absolutely loved it. But let me tell you something. The way I looked and the way I saw myself in the mirror at that point in time was not good. I remember this was my first day of school and I walked into the schoolyard and I absolutely hated everything about it. I walked in and I thought everyone was looking at me. I didn't look like the other year 7 kids. I didn't look like all the other kids who didn't have as much body fat as me. I wasn't as tall as them, and it really sucked. That day has literally been ingrained in me for so many years, and it's stuck with me for so long. And I promised myself back then that I never wanted to feel that way again, because as a kid, you don't understand, like, there's different body types. You don't understand that there's things that are different about every single individual. You just want to fit in, and I did not, and I hated that, and I was not confident to take my shirt off. And yes, don't get me wrong, I was young, I was still a kid, I probably hadn't gone through puberty yet, but the thing was that I knew that feeling was not good, and I know that that's a feeling that a lot of you have probably felt before, of not feeling confident enough, not feeling like you can take your shirt off in public, and not feeling like you look the part. And if you do, it's because it's not the good part. So, but if we fast forward to today, this photo was taken around a week ago. I obviously look completely different. Now, don't get me wrong, you can obviously say that there's a lot of differences here just from a perspective of age, maturity, and whatnot, but the thing is I've put on a lot of work to get here. If you're listening to this, you're probably in the same position as me. You might not be where I was when I was in year 7, but you might be somewhere along those lines, and you're wondering, how the fuck can I get to this position here? And thinking, what do I need to do? Why is it that I always fall short? Why is it that I can't seem to get that 5-10 kilos, take that physique to the next level, or build the muscle that you want to build to ultimately look the way that you want to look, so that when you do take your shirt off, you do feel and look the way that you want? So, as I said, this has nothing to do with training. It has nothing to do with nutrition, but it's the most underlooked reason as to why people don't reach their goals in the first place. Now, this is a question that I ask every single person when they jump on a consult call with me for my coaching. And I say, why is it that you want to achieve this goal? And, we get the same usual answer. It's always something along the lines of like, I want abs, I want to look good on the beach, or I just want to lose some weight, or I want to feel fit. Now, those aren't necessarily bad goals to have, but the thing that always comes to my mind when people say these things is that they lack a lot of depth to their goals. They have no intensity behind it. If you listen to my story and as to how I felt, there was a lot of emotion behind it. There was a lot of reason as to how I felt in that moment. I almost was able to go back and relive it and tell you that story almost as you were there. And that's what a lot of people lack when it comes to reaching their goals. They don't get clear. If you want to achieve a goal, and if you want to get there in a very efficient way, you need to get extremely fucking clear on your goals. And this is the main reason why most of you fail when it comes to achieving your dream physique, because you don't lack the depth and density to your goals. You just say the things like, I want abs, or I want to look good on the beach, or I want to lose the 5-10 kilos, which again, they're all great goals to have, but they're not deep enough. You need to get deep on your goals if you want to achieve them. So how can we go about doing that? Well, here are the 3 things that I usually say, or I'll usually ask in a call, or anyone else who wants to achieve something special, who wants to achieve their dream physique, and they're not giving me the clear goal that they have, or they're lacking that density to their goal. So I ask them, like, what do you really want? What does that look like for you? Like, I want you to paint the picture for me. Another way you can even do it is just fast forward a year from now. Like, think a year from now and think about what would happen if you didn't achieve the goal that you wanted. What would happen if you're still doing the same thing as you're doing now, but you're still stuck in that same position? You didn't have the muscle mass you wanted. You'd still holding on to that extra little bit of body fat that you started with. How would that make you feel? I bet it wouldn't feel really good, would it? So now that you understand what the negative looks like, now we need to fast forward a year from now. We need to look forward as to what the positive would look like. How do you want to feel? What does that look like? How do you approach certain situations? Then we can get really fucking clear on the goal itself. And then the other thing is like, what do you want to be feeling? So when you take that shirt off on the beach, or, you know, you drop that 5 to 10 kilos, how do you want to feel? What does that feel like to you? Can you see how much clearer we're getting with this now? We are getting somewhere. The feelings are the most important thing when it comes to this, because if you are not talking about how you feel when it comes to these things, then when it gets tough and when it gets hard, you're going to throw in the towel so much quicker. Now, you might be saying, Jackson, why is this so important? You know, why do we need to get so clear and deep on the goals? Why do I need to talk about, you know, some of my fucking trauma? Like, you're not a therapist. And you're exactly right. I'm not a therapist. And I don't expect you to tell me your deep-seated trauma. But what I do expect you to do is understand why it is that you want to achieve the goal that you have in the first place. For me, to lay it back to the story that I had, is that I never wanted to feel that way ever again. But it wasn't just about, you know, not wanting to feel that way ever again, but I wanted to make that younger version of me proud. I wanted him to be able to look at me and say, you know what, Jackson, I'm really proud that how you've looked after me. And I want to look back at him and say, I'm proud of you. You've really been able to take a situation where you didn't feel so good, and you're able to turn it into something really, really special. And now I've been able to, you know, create this life where I have coaching as a business, and I help other people get jacked, and I look the way that I do and act the way that I do because of those experiences. And you need to ask yourself those same questions and talk to yourself and say, well, how can I take an experience, or how can I take a feeling that I'm in right now and turn it into something more positive? I'm not saying you need to run away from the person that you're at now, but you should be wanting to make that younger version or that older version of yourself just as proud as well, so that when the time does get tough, because this is what's really, really important. When it gets hard and you have a good understanding of your why, you will always get up and go to the gym. Let's face it, there's gonna come a day and there's gonna come a time where you probably don't wanna eat the food that you're eating, where you don't wanna go to the gym, where you feel extremely tired, where you're trying to put on muscle and you just don't wanna eat another calorie, or you're trying to lose weight and you're really, really hungry. And you might say, oh, why the fuck am I doing all of this? This is why here. This is why we have this conversation, because you can think to yourself and say, hold on a minute, I know why I'm doing this. I'm trying to make that version of me proud. And I've had that conversation with myself many, many times, because when I did my bodybuilding prep and I did my bodybuilding show, you bet your fucking ass there was times I did not want to go to the gym. I did not want to go and do cardio. I was so hungry. I just wanted to eat some extra rice, some extra oats. It wasn't even the fact that I wanted to have a burger, but I'm telling you, I wanted food. I reminded myself, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to prove to that younger version of Jackson, to make him proud, to make him no longer feel the way that he used to feel. And I did it. And that's what kept me going in those tough moments. And that's why you need to have these conversations. That's why you need to ask yourself these questions, because once you find your why, then you will succeed. And it's that simple. As I said, this has nothing to do with training. This has nothing to do with nutrition. It has nothing to do with your fucking program. Those things are all important. But the second you can understand what your why is, you can achieve anything. And I mean this. I see it all the time. The clients that I have that are always the most successful always give me the most in-depth reasoning as to why they want to do this. Now, I'm not saying you have to have some trauma in order to achieve your goal, but you just need to understand why it is that you actually want to do what you want to do. And again, what is it that you want to feel? What is it that you want to do, look, and act like in that future self of you that you don't want to do anymore now? Because if you understand that, all the habits, all the training, all the nutrition becomes fucking easy. So you might be getting to this point in the video and saying, okay, Jackson, I get what you're saying. I need to find my why, etc. So what do I really do from here? Well, just go away and ask yourself those questions. What do I need to do to get there? And how do I want to feel? So just do those things. And if that means that you go and get a coach, or you follow a program and you stick to your diet and you don't actually break it after the first 4 weeks, or you don't change anything, then that's exactly what you need to go and do. Once you understand how important finding the why and the reasoning behind things, you can actually understand how important it is and how much it's going to carry you through those tough days and following the plan. Because the plan is the easy part. You can find a million plans online. You can reach out to a coach. You can message me. You can find plans. You can go watch my content. There's so many plans out there, nutrition, training, whatever. But We don't have a knowledge problem. We have an application problem. And the reason that coaches are so important in a client's journey is because they hold that accountability. They will hold you to that why. They will give you the reason to keep going. And they will remind you of that reason in that moment. So if you want to take anything away from this, go and do that. Go and figure out your why. And that's how you will get to your physique goal. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed that video. I'm going to wrap it up there. As always, this content is going to keep rolling out on a weekly basis. Now, I'm not always going to be talking about just the whys and the mindset and stuff like that. I think that stuff is important, but I'm building into the plan, the programming, the nutrition, and I'm going to spread more knowledge around that as time goes on as well. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, you subscribe to the channel, follow me on IG. The link is in below if you're interested in coaching. There's also going to be a link below to message me on Instagram, and we can go back and forth on there and we can have a chat and see if you're a good fit for the program. So if you enjoyed this, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.